Hello knitters, Barbara Benson here. I am an independent knitwear designer who also likes to make videos here on my YouTube channel, Watch Barbara Knit. If you'd like to know more about my designs, please check in the description below. And there you will find a link to my Ravelry page where you will see all the designs I have available for you to purchase and knit up something beautiful for yourself. Also in the description below, you will find a link to my Facebook group where we would love to have you come join, and so we can continue the conversations that we start here on this YouTube channel. Pretty much anything I talk about is free game. Today for y'all, I have a little tutorial or instructional video on how to do yarn overs. It seems like that might be, sometimes it's really straightforward, but believe it or not, there's a little bit of complexity involved that hopefully I can clarify for y'all. I do want to talk about yarn overs for a little bit, but for those of you who want to just jump ahead to the tutorial part, when I am editing this video, I'll put a timestamp right down here so you can jump ahead to this timestamp for the actual looking at my hands and watching me do things. If you are not jumping ahead to that, let's chat a little bit about yarn overs. What is a yarn over? And really, a yarn over is making a hole in your knitting on purpose. I mean, that's really what it is. When we start knitting, a lot of times we do it on accidental, but this is on purpose. It involves wrapping the yarn around the needle so that you create a hole. Now, it can be used for increasing and making things bigger. It can be for shaping, or it is an integral part of making lace. When you are working lace, the yarn overs are paired with decreases so that you're adding in the stitch and taking away the stitch so that you don't actually change shape. So it's whether or not you deliberately want to change the size of your piece. You can add yarn overs with no decreases, and that will allow you to shape and move things around. That's how shawls are made, things like that. Or you want to pair your yarn overs with a decrease so that the math works out. And that's one of the complexities in designing lace, is making sure that your math works out so that however many yarn overs you're adding, you also have the appropriate number of decreases to remove so you end up with the same stitch count along the line. So that is a really super brief thing about yarn overs. What I'm going to go over, and this is going to be a little bit of repeating, is you have to think about how to make a yarn over based on what stitch becomes before the yarn over and one stitch is coming after the yarn over. The position of your yarn, whether it's in front of your work or behind your work, makes a difference when you are making your yarn over. So going knit to purl versus purl to purl versus knit to knit, all of those things require slightly different techniques. But at the base, what you are doing is wrapping your yarn around your right hand needle to make a new stitch on that needle. So here we go with the actual tutorial. We are going to go over 4 different ways to do a yarn over. These all achieve the same thing. It's just you have to take into consideration what the stitch before and what the stitch after are doing. Now what these are, I'm going to talk about between a knit and a knit, or a knit and a purl. And what I mean by this is knit-based stitches or purl-based stitches. Obviously, a knit is just a knit. But a knit-based stitch would be something like a knit 2 together. You can also purl 2 together. So this applies to knit and knit-based stitches and purl-based stitches. So we're going to go from first a knit stitch to a knit stitch. So you start with your yarn in the back, insert your right hand needle, you've knit a stitch. Now to make your yarn over, move it forward, it being your yarn, between your needles, underneath the right hand needle, and then make it go over the right hand needle so your yarn's in the back and ready for a knit stitch. There we go. From knit, yarn over, knit. let me try to do that. English, right-handed. Yarn tensioned in my right hand. So, yarn's in the back. Knit a stitch. Bring your yarn forward between the needles, under your right hand needle, over your right hand needle, insert into the next stitch, and bring it through. So again, we've got knit one, yarn over, knit one. Next, let's do a knit to a purl. So we're starting with our yarn in the back because we're going to knit. You knit the stitch, bring your yarn forward between your needles, under your right hand needle, over your right hand needle, and then back forward between those needles so you're in the position to purl the next stitch. There we go. Knit, yarn over, purl. Let's try to do it English, or with your yarn tensioned in your right hand, however you prefer to call that. Again, not my strong suit. Yarn starts in the back. Knit a stitch. Again, pull your yarn to the front, between the needles, underneath your right needle, over your right needle, and then bring it, lost it. I'm gonna put my thumb on it. Then bring it forward again so that we are ready to purl this next stitch. You end with your yarn in front, so you may need to move it to get to your next stitch. Again, yarn over, knit one, yarn over, purl one. Let's now go from purl to knit. So since we're purling, the yarn starts in front, purl, bring your yarn's in the front because you just purled, bring it over your right hand needle to the back, and you're in position to knit. So that's purl, yarn over, knit. Let's back that out. Tension right hand. So you're in the front already. It's not going to be tense enough. You're in the front already because you're getting ready to purl. So you insert, purl. Your yarn is in the front because you just purled, so you push it over your right hand needle to the back and then knit the next stitch. Okay? Purl, yarn over, knit. And finally, we're going to purl, yarn over, purl. Yarn's in the front because we're purling. Insert, purl. Yarn's still in the front, so you put it over your right hand needle, bring it all the way to the front again between the needles so we're in position to purl. So that's purl, yarn over, purl. Let's back that out and see if I can do that with my right hand without knocking my camera over. So yarn needs to be in front because we're purling. Purl, get out of there. Yarn is still in front. We have to lay it back to the back over the right hand needle and then bring it to the front a second time so that we are ready to purl the next stitch. Let me show you that. See, purl, yarn over, purl. One variation that I feel like I should show you is if you're going from knit to purl, some people, instead of bringing the yarn in front around and all the way so you can purl again, some people like to go from knit, just lay your yarn over the right hand needle and purl like that. What you will see here is that makes this yarn over reverse mounted. What I mean by reverse mount is we're talking about Western mount, is that, so if you look at your stitch, you've got leg 1 and leg 2, right? The first leg you come to and the second leg you come to. In standard Western mount, the first leg should be in front and the second leg should be in back, meaning front and back of the needle. If you look here, the first leg you come to is in the back and the second leg is in the front. If we go back and look at one of these earlier yarn overs, you can see the first leg you come to is in front and the second leg you come to is in back. So this is reverse mount. If you want to do it this way, you just need to remember, unless you want a twisted stitch, you've got to fix it on the returning row. So let's go through it one more time real quick. Knit to knit. Yarn starts in back, knit, between needles, over right hand, you're in the back, ready to knit again. Knit to purl. You've knit one, bring yarn forward between needles, over right hand needle all the way back to the front again, so you're in position to purl. Purl to knit, you're in the front, you purl, lay your yarn back over, and you're in the back, and you're ready to knit. And the longest and most complicated of them, you've purled. Let's start it here. You've purled, your yarn is in front, you pass it over your right hand needle, back to the front between the needles, and you're ready to purl. And those are the different techniques, some of them involved in yarn over, the basic techniques involved in making yarn overs. I hope that cleared up or maybe brought up some things for you to think about that you hadn't, or just refreshed you on making yarn overs. It is neck and neck my most favorite technique with slip stitches. I love lace. Yarn overs are awesome. If you like this video, please give it the thumbs up, click that like button. And if you would like to be notified whenever I upload a new video, please subscribe to my channel and select notifications. And finally, if there is any subject in knitting that you would like me to talk about, or maybe if you have a question, please talk to me in the comments below, and I will be happy to take suggestions and ideas for future videos. Thank you so much.